Hey guys, BJ Lakshman here. We are here for Mythborn 24/7 365. I'm super excited to be back. As you can tell, I figured out some stuff with my camera. I have no idea why it was blurry before, but it seems to be working well now. So, yay. I've gotten a lot of not calls, I'm sorry, texts and questions on Quora about martial arts. They're always different questions, but really at the end of the day, they're asking sort of the same thing. How do you train? What's the magic punch that kills everybody? Five Finger Death Punch. Actually, that's a great music group, but I wanted to give people a chance to give you a little insight into what I trained and how I was trained, just so you can understand that it's not magic. It is honestly just hard work, like everything in life. And the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. But at the end of that, if you stick through it, I have a really, really cool thing I want to show you guys. I'll give you a little preview. It's right there. No. Housekeeping. I will be at the Barnes & Noble in Rockville Pike in Rockville, Maryland on November 10th. And I'll be there for a book signing. I hope you guys can show up. If you're local to the area, please come. I think there'll be, there's a lot of places to eat around there. The Barnes & Noble itself is huge, and there's a Starbucks connected to it. So I'm going to be talking to the owner today to see if we can set up some cool stuff for people to do while they're there. I had been talking to one of my teammates about potentially having like face painting for kids and things like that. I'm a dad. My kids will be there. It'll be definitely a family event. So, feel free to come, pick up a great book, and, I might nudge and, try and convince you to pick up a copy of Mythborn too. The audiobook is out. Go check it out. We've had a ton of traffic. So I've been on these radio shows, and it turns out, like maybe a couple nights ago, I was on one for the paranormal. He does this show for late night long haul truckers. Isn't that cool? I mean, it's actually a really nice thing to do. I mean, you got to drive all night. You're going to be up. You want to hear something interesting, and you don't want to always hear the same tapes and things like that. So he has these live guests come on, and they're usually people who have something, interesting in their background. Mine is, martial arts, but also I have this really, really long history of researching paranormal, UFOs, cryptids. I mean, frankly, if there's a mystery in the world that I don't know about, then it's probably real because I've never heard of it. That means it hasn't been commercialized. What's really interesting about my background is my family are from all over the world. So I was exposed to all kinds of weird legends. The Yeti. It's so crazy. I have an uncle who lives in Nepal, and he used to tell us about how you never stayed out past dusk. It was really interesting hearing those stories. I'm sure he was trying to scare me because I was a kid, but ultimately, it worked. Late night truckers, I guess they heard I was coming on because the guy said that they had something like 200,000 or some crazy number of people who had hit the servers that night to listen to the show. So if you're interested, go to my Facebook page. I think I posted the link. It has my name as BJ, but I think they fixed it later to VJ. And so check it out. And I'll post the thing on the YouTube channel, the interview and all that stuff. But if you get a chance to listen to it, and it turns out it was such a fun time for both of us that I'll be back on there again. We have the audiobook out on iTunes now also, so you can go to the iTunes store. If you go to our Mythborn website and you click the shop page, there'll be icons there for all the places you can find stuff. And I urge you guys, get the audiobook. It seems like a lot of people are enjoying it. Let's talk a little bit today about my training regimen and then what I ultimately had to do to get my black belt. I think that actually gives you a sense of what kind of like level you're operating at. Black belt is where you begin to learn. So, at black belt, it means you have mastered all the basics. You have mastered everything. As a black belt, you are a master of the basics, right? All the basic techniques and all the basic strikes in your system. And the expectation is at that point, you know enough to start teaching, and by teaching, you learn, you perfect your art. The same way that if you teach someone how to change the oil or how to change a tire, you become better at that same task. The teaching it actually is a great way to learn. And so the teacher, not necessarily this like sage on the stage, but thinking of them more as like a guide on the side. That's what the martial arts are like too. Instructors, great instructors, they're sort of side by side with you, and they are walking you through the ways in which you are succeeding. But they're there for when you fail. They pick you up and they help you sort of learn how to overcome what happened in that one spot. Unfortunately for me, most of my failures had to do with but according to my instructor, not being in shape. So, I mean, not being in good enough shape. So he had a special penchant, yeah, for working me to the bone. I started training when I was about 9 years old, and I used to literally, I grew up on like Kung Fu with David Carradine, Bruce Lee. I used to remember the Junri commercials, and I'd always like think to myself, like, there's so much magic here. Like if it just taught me the technique of like, I touch someone and they drop it. It was the way I saw the world. As a kid, I saw it all magical. I saw these all as everything was just, if I just knew the spell, if I just knew the technique. I used to, really believe that like if you concentrated hard enough, if you just knew how to do it, you could move things with your mind. Like that's the confidence I had, that it wasn't hard work. It was just figuring out the trick, the secret, right? It doesn't help that most fantasy books act like that too, right? They sort of like tell you, like, if you've read Sparrowhawk, right, the fantastic Earthsea trilogy, and Ged, it's like when he, in that whole knowledge train, if he knows the true name of something, he has power. So when I started training, I really believed that I just had to learn some kind of magic stuff, and I would go to class every night, so I didn't miss anything, and I would train really hard, and I just thought eventually he's going to take me aside, he's going to teach me this magical thing. Well, the typical training session for us, even when I was 9, I did the same thing the adults did, is our school has approximately 100 to 120 or so techniques, like a strike to the head, a punch, a back fist, whatever the things you call them. We have about 100 of those, let's say, and then maybe 20 more leg techniques. And our school would get in a line across from each other, and we would basically do these strikes with the lower belts, like us, the starters, being across from the senior belts. And you would do each one, each strike, or each set of strikes, we would do 100 times in this sort of rhythm, this chanting rhythm. So, our typical workout would start with stretching exercises that were also done in that line. Stretching exercises for our arms, our legs, our hips, everything else. We would then just start doing push-ups. We started with 50 here, then 50 here, and finally 50 on just 2 fingers. The push-ups we did were rolling push-ups. So you had your feet down, but you would roll forward and low, and then stand back up again, and then roll forward and low, so that it sort of worked the whole upper and lower chest. And clearly when you started, you couldn't do 250 push-ups, but you eventually learned how to do it. And then we'd have floor stretching, and then after that we'd finally get up and get ready to work out. And then we would get into a horse stance with our legs, thighs close to parallel to the ground, or at least about a 30-degree angle. And we would start doing the techniques at a certain rhythm, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and you would do those 100 times each. So if you're looking at 100 strikes or techniques in the system at 100 times each, that's 10,000 strikes a night. And so we would do 10,000 strikes, and then we would do our kicks, and then that would take about an hour. And sometimes my instructor or the senior belts would feel like people were dogging it, like they weren't really striking hard or accurately. Because the senior belts who were sitting across from me, they would make sure you were actually striking to the center line, you were chambering your punches, you were doing all the right stuff. And if you weren't, they would either yell at you to do it, or they would just give you push-ups. So you just stop, you drop, and do push-ups until, so they go, give me 50, and you jump back into the line again. So this was all based on building endurance, a ton of endurance, right? And at the end of the push-ups, the stretching, the 10,000 strikes, and all that, the expectation at that point, an hour into our 3-hour class, right? That was the first hour. My instructor felt that he had a philosophy that you being exhausted, and by being exhausted, he felt your mind was more receptive to teaching. So his goal was bury you endurance-wise. You barely could walk at the end of that hour, because believe me, even if you tried to sort of skate through it, you had these senior butts across from you who are they're killing it, right? They're lower than you, they're striking harder than you, and they're screaming at you the whole time. So it's literally it's a line that you would like think of in any military situation. Probably didn't help that my instructor was ex-military. He believed that you could never push hard enough. By driving us to the point of near exhaustion, like collapse from exhaustion, where plenty of people, it was all normal for people to throw up on the line. It was normal. Like, you ate right before you came to class, you were going to be throwing up. And we were, no one broke phase. If someone threw up, they cleaned it up. They started doing their push-ups, because anytime you break the line, you're doing push-ups. There was one class where I did push-ups the entire class, 3 hours straight. Like, I would just do push-ups until I fell, and then I would start doing push-ups again. Like, it was, there are plenty of times where I think that happened for sure, right? Growing up, there was a point in my life where I could do push-ups literally all day. When you're done, kata training, I don't know if there's an equivalent to it in Western sports. The philosophy around katas is, when you're fighting and when you're doing, these things and you're engaged with someone else, fighting, there are too many things that are happening potentially that are not that are variables. So you are training in something. You're training in there's a kind of endurance to fighting that you have to learn. You can't just do kata or the line and learn fighting endurance. Just like you need ring time, right? You need to actually be fighting to get endurance in fighting. Same way that you can't just get ready for the ring by punching a heavy bag. You got to get in the ring, right, and spar. And so the philosophy behind kata is, when do you get to practice the perfect technique? When do you get to get in that stance and do the technique you just learned without someone messing you up because they either jam you or they get in close or they get a little too far away or they're working their technique, right? Like, when you got two people dealing with the same problem of trying to kill each other, you tend to interrupt each other, right? In terms of what could happen. So kata was designed to let you practice perfection in a controlled way, so you understood what the technique ought to be executed in a perfect world, what it should be, how it should be executed. It didn't mean you would ever execute it that way in a real situation, but it gave you sort of the target to shoot for. So I'll go way more into it the next time. We'll have a 3-part series on this for those of you who are interested, and we will talk next time. Today we talked a little bit about just the overall thing. To test for your black belt, what I want people to understand is that it's hard work. It's not magic. It is just literally getting on the floor, putting your time, sweat, your effort, your tears, your blood down, right? Getting your body working is the only way your body gets working. So cool. Now I'm going to show you this really, really cool thing, and then we'll talk about my training next time and why. And all of this will play into Mythborn and why it's so interesting when you read Mythborn to see how these various techniques are used. But more importantly, a lot of the philosophy of martial arts has been, I've written about in Mythborn, and not from the standpoint of a single martial arts, but trying to abstract sort of these larger lessons that I think are valuable to anybody in anything they're doing. And I hope you guys enjoy that. So I got something very cool sent to me, and I wanted to share it with you guys. I got matching daggers sent. check these out. They are handcrafted. They are handcrafted by a smith in Poland. And they are matching, like I said. But what's really cool, they came in these really cool sheaths, is look at this. I think you can almost see it, but I'm trying to get the camera to focus on this. But I got to get really close to it. But you notice it is a Damascus blade. It's actually done with something called Damascus nail pattern, right? So how cool is that, right? You know, Damascus nail pattern. It's combat ready, combat sharp leaf daggers, right? This one's really cool too. You can see that it's ultimately, you know, really, really look at that pattern, right? Look at that. And, you know, the waving edge. And by the way, it's a full one piece, right? So that pattern goes all the way into the hilt too, and all the way down into the bottom, right? Look at that. Like, this is true, beautiful craftsmanship that the guy's done. And I got to tell you, I'm just in awe, right, of just how nice it is. You know, this Damascus nail is a beautiful sort of waterfall kind of pattern. They're matching. They're incredibly well sort of balanced. They're really beautiful, and I'm really glad that I got these. And I got, you know, ultimately I got a longsword coming too, which I can't wait to share with you guys too. So they're razor sharp. I am psyched. They are really, really, really nice. You know, there turns out there's fans of Mythborn everywhere. Yay! Thank you. This is really cool. I will share the longsword with you when it comes next week. I want to thank everybody for being on my Mythborn live broadcast. Look forward to part 2 of martial arts and weapons when I talk to you guys next on Mythborn. So remember, November 20th, we will be at the Barnes & Noble. Please hit like or subscribe wherever it is, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and come visit us at Facebook and at mythbornmedia.com. Join us, you know, check things out. Check out the audiobook. It's really, really good. And I can't wait to see you guys again. So I'll look forward to seeing you guys next week on Mythborn Live. Thanks.